What's up everyone and welcome back. I'm William2K and this is Stoneblock 3. Episode 9 actually. So today we're going to continue what we were doing yesterday and really just work towards getting that Drigme charm made. We were able to get our 4 silverfish hearts yesterday at the end of the episode, so now all we have left is some source gems and doing a little bit of Arx Magica. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. So the next thing for our Drigme is, well, we got to turn some lapis into some source gems. For this, I just created a simple system. It takes lapis out of here, puts it in the source pedestal, and then I have a filter for source gems, which pipes it back on top. We also are going to need an enchanting apparatus, an arcane core, and with these source gems that we've collected, 8 of these arcane pedestals, which in themselves needs this arcane stone. So once we get all of our arcane stone, which we need 1 more, and our 8 arcane pedestals, all we have to do is create a platform like this, put our arcane core on the bottom and our enchanting apparatus on the top. The next thing we have to do is, well, the Drigme recipe. So we need to get our 4 silverfish hearts, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to follow that up with 3 source gems and a seed. Now all that we should have to do is get our Drigme shard, put that in the center, and we'll watch this little light show, and there's our Drigme charm. This was the whole reason for killing that thing so many times. We can go ahead and clean up these items as we probably won't need them again, and move on to the next thing. The next thing we did is we went and made 4 volcanic source links. These source links take coal or any other burnable resource and, well, converts it into source. We can use the arcane pedestals to feed them, and then finally we will have to make a source jar, which is made this simply. We'll just need some arcane slabs, and there's our source jar. Now these items should be able to make enough source for the Drigme to use in order to farm the silverfish efficiently. The last thing that we're going to need is some coal chickens as well as a roost. These coal chickens will be responsible for powering our arcane portal. Now we go back to our boss arena, and we can go ahead and set this up. So simply put, we're going to first need an area for our Drigme, which we'll just say if the silverfish boss is there, we can put our Drigme maybe right about here. Alrighty, so I cleared out a little area, and the first step is to put down our Drigme. All we have to do is right click on here on the mossy cobblestone, and it should make our Drigme. So there he is. I also want to go ahead and surround this area in fence. Since we have the nether brick fence, that's what I'm going to use just to make a simple containment system for any of these mobs. Now the skeletons are going to spawn, and I don't necessarily want him to be involved in that, so I'm going to go ahead and fence him off from the rest of it for a minute so that we can fight the skeletons and everything else that spawns from here without having to endanger him. So our 16 eggs, our shards, and our ritual starter. And there we go. The skeletons have been dispatched and the silverfish has spawned. Now, the Drigme will take a little bit of time in order to, well, kill our silverfish, and it doesn't necessarily help that there's a few more. So the way that we go about speeding this up is to take some passive mobs and put it in this area with the Drigme. That will allow him to work a little bit faster and, well, also give us a few other outputs as well. Sorry, how could I forget? We actually need to also give him source. So there's our source jar, and we'll go ahead and put our 5 volcanic pedestals here, as well as our 5 volcanic source links, as well as our pedestals. And then run an item pipe between them. And lastly, put our roost with our coal chicken right here. Adding an export as well as a pipe filter should help these. And now it should start to produce source, which the Drigme will use to fill this chest up with silverfish hearts. And finally, we can see that we got some drops. Now, a little bit disappointed that there's no silverfish hearts in this drop, but there are definitely some other things that show that we are getting drops, just not from the correct mob. So I figured while we were waiting on everything to craft, we just... yeah, that. That was giant cube number 1. Now for the second one. Alright, on to the next one. Next one. First deadly one. Next one. Well, and our first death of the series. Alrighty, it looks like we got most of our items back. Do I dare open another? I guess we shall. And it looks like we have one more left, so let's go ahead and open that last one. It looks like possibly that was a whole lot of nothing. Next thing we have to do is, well, open some normal chance cubes. Given that this area is destroyed, though, I'm going to make another one to open the normal ones in. So for these chance cubes, I kind of just want to put down a bunch of them and open them all at the same time and see what happens. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I guess that's not an option, so. Well then, you know, I have to admit, after analyzing this idea a little further, might not be the smartest. It seems like there's more harm than good that comes from these. The first 2 deaths of the series have came from this and led to a lot of running. So I think that that'll be it for the chance cubes. I might open one more. Saved by the golden apple, it seems. Whew. Yeah, that 100% definitely does not seem worth it, so let's get back home and back to business. While I was waiting on those silverfish hearts, I figured I'd go ahead and make a little bit of magenta matter, as well as a few other required resources in order to get the magenta power flower, which produces 4,000 EMC a second. And after a little bit more pre-setup, we are able to craft a magenta power flower. Now, while this isn't required, I figured that while we're waiting on everything else, we could wait on, well, EMC together. So let's go ahead and make one of these and get the entire process started. And after long last, there is our magenta power flower. Now this item we would normally just place down, but if we place it down next to the watch of flowing time, then it will greatly increase its efficiency. Up at the top left, you can see that we're getting 77,000 EMC second from this Mark IV power flower, and there's only one. You can also see that we've gotten 492 source gems, which I'm just going to go ahead and throw on into the system and dismantle this machine here. And lastly, upon checking our chest, we actually do have 5 silverfish hearts. So let me get the ingredients together to make that transmutation table, and that'll be our goal for the episode. And after long last, we have our transmutation table. And if we put that down, we can see that we have 20 million EMC already. And, well, quite frankly, we can just start throwing items in. Quick little claim of all the quests. Alrighty, and, well... Alrighty, and, well, we're back. As you can tell, I'm a bit decked out. I got 3 transmutation tables, I got the Colossal Star, and a few other goodies. Now, why I didn't record all this was it was basically me just standing, taking these trees, crafting them up and up and up and up until we got all the way down to our mark 15. I just kind of stood there for a while and did this. Down here, I also want to add a couple more of these pedestals with the watch on it. Maybe about 5 or 9 or 10 or I don't know. I haven't really decided yet, but I definitely want to add some more to speed up these neutronium collectors. I've also been leaving this run for a while, so as you can see, we have 212 of this neutronium, and I've also started to craft neutronium compressors as we have quite the to-do list. Now, while nothing's really set in stone as of yet, what I want to start working on next is, well, Endgame. Endgame in this pack means we need to be able to make the infinite ingot and other things to, well, get the transmutation tablet. This seems to be the in-game goal, as well as this arcane transmutation table. And then that's about it. If we look in the quest book, there's also another chapter called the Ultimate Armor, which we will be going for as well. And I would say we've completed the pack when we get to this. Just wanted to place my trees back down that I broke. So, yeah, next on the agenda is, well, we're done with this, and we're getting these to make the neutronium compressors. It just takes time. We are getting lots of silverfish hearts, and maybe a few too many of the other drops, to be honest. But that really just leaves these singularities. Now, downstairs in our mob farm, which I forgot to turn off my magnet before coming down here, I even set up a quick little system right here that should pump out our XP from here, which it's empty, into these tanks. And these tanks should slowly press them into these XP buddies. As you can see, we have 984, which is quite a few. So it's obviously working. And we also automated this, so the wither spawner should only run if we have less than 4K. Sorry, less than 5K. As we're kind of sitting right there at it, it's not going to run, or it's not going to stop. Sorry, let me get up out of there. I feel like I can't even hear myself think when I go downstairs. So that is basically this XP Jelly Baby done. We only need about 12 for the singularity. We have, I think it was like 1,000, so we should be good on this one. So we just need to, well, throw it in the singularity compressor. Other than that, there are 23 of these, meaning we are going to need 23 neutronium compressors. But that's not the only thing. We also need a ultimate stew, an Indus pearl, and a cosmic meatball, which is, well, what all these ingredients over on the left are. Since we've gotten the Jelly Belly, I can remove that, and really our next goal is this Watch of Flowing Time. This neutronium is going to be direly important, and a lot of it right now is being slowed down by... This neutronium is going to be super important, and right now it's being slowed down because these compressors aren't quick enough. We have 25, actually we have 50 down here, and it's really only producing quite slow. So we need to automate this watch. After thinking about it a little bit, I kind of want to just put it in the wall right here. So let me get a few resources and get this started. Basically what I have back here is a refined EMC link. This is making obsidian, dark matter blocks, glowstone, and clocks. It is making sure that there is one clock in this chest at all times. And if I could grab that fast enough. And then it's basically putting this out on the conveyor belt. I have EBT data matching to make sure that only the completed clocks stay in the box. And all the other ones get recycled. This one's adding dark matter, this one's adding glowstone, and this one's adding obsidian. And basically it goes down the assembly line until it's done, and we'll eventually fill this chest up. Once that happens, the conveyor belt will stop, and all the other actions will cease. I also went ahead and got this chest here and entangled it into our ME system. So with the entangle Yep, the entangled mod. You can make an entangled block and an entangled binder. You can bind a block to the entangled block and then have it somewhere else. I did the same with this drawer, so both the watches as well as the neutronium are viewable in the system. And there we go. I went ahead and outfitted this with a few more clocks, and if we open up this system, we can see that the neutronium is being produced much faster. Now, I'm not completely sure if this is a rate that I'm satisfied with as of yet, but only time will tell. If I'm not, I'll just come down here and add a few more clocks manually, and that'll be that. Well, welcome to the new section of the base. So I've spent some time clearing out the area. I'm kind of leaving these open. I'm not sure if I just want to put things in them or kind of what I'm doing, but I figured with all this crafting, I'd need a bit more space. And well, while these tunnels downstairs are okay, I figured we could use with a little bit of opening up the space a little bit more. So basically over here, we'll have our auto crafters on one of these sides for the stew, for the cosmic meatball, and also for the Ender's Pearl. And then the crafter for this infinity catalyst will probably put front and center here or something. I'm not really sure. Haven't really came up with it, but this is going to be our storage system for this entire upstairs, which is all going to be centered on getting all of these items over here. I didn't exactly count, but I'm sure we have roughly the right amount. So the next step is I'm going to spend some time getting these singularities, such as this one, where it just basically takes EMC and then turns it into the singularity, as well as like apple and golden apple and a few other things that's EMCable. Basically going to set all the EMCable stuff up here, and then once I get done with that, probably start looking at getting the Endless Pearl crafted, as that's a pretty simple recipe. Maybe if we still have time, we'll actually tackle one of these that's a little bit more advanced, like the Emerald Cluster that doesn't have EMC, but we'll just have to see. So I'll be back once I have some progress to show with our EMCing. Alrighty, and after a little bit of crafting, here we go. So most of these are just fed through EMC. However, I went ahead and did nitro crystals, XP jelly babies, mob souls, and the uraninite. They're all being fed back over into here, and as you can see, we're starting to collect quite a handful of singularities. Those that aren't are these three resources are fed in through our ME system. I ran a wire all the way up. And then over here is our nitro crystals. Now, this worries me a little bit with power, but it seems like our power system's holding steady. Basically, here we're importing the nether star, block of redstone, and blaze mesh. And then these machines here take care of crafting those into the nitro crystals. Those nitro crystals are then put into this drawer, and then we're exported from the drawer into this here neutronium compressor. If we go over to our system, we can even see that we already have 19 of those. That's probably one of the slowest systems that we have here. However, it's not particularly important with timing because we can sit and wait for a long time. These watches of flowing time are also on these pedestals to help speed up this entire process. The ones that we have left all involve a little bit more work and could need their own room as well, so we haven't gotten to that. I also need to work on getting a couple more of these items made that have EMC, but certain things like the raw salmon are only available through Botania, which we will have to get into as well. And after a lot of setup, a lot of crafting, and well, all of that, we actually have something to show for it. So I didn't really automate many more of these. We are actually making these Endless Pearls, and I added a few more foods. But apart from that, there's not a whole lot that's new, except for, well, this whole system. So downstairs, I made another ME network, subnet, same deal as basically in the main base, just much smaller. And so this interacts with the entangled block, a refined EMC link, and then this is connected to our main network, and it's used to supply nuggets, ingots, and piles. In here, we can basically see all the items that are over in our drawers. Not a whole lot of difference. The cool part comes in with this system. So basically we have our main network and our sub and blah, 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 blah. We've already been over this. And it basically feeds into these things. And what's so cool about it is that I went ahead and set up all these exporters. So as soon as these things are crafted, they should automatically be put in, all being powered by windmill power. So as we can see, there's already a few items in. However, over here, we did it a little differently. We used xset, as well as a ME interface that's connected to our private network here and not the main base. And again, another windmill. So xset's there. So since we already have all the resources, we're already starting to craft all this. And then down here and here, we are using applied energistics. And then up here again at the top, we're using xset again. The only thing that we're missing is the singularity thing, the infinity catalyst. Also, I do realize I say xset. I don't know why. The mod's name's xnet, whatever it is. I love the mod. It makes things absolutely phenomenal. But back to the explanation. So when these get done, they get put in an ME interface, and then eventually will be output into here just like this Indus Pearl. And notice how there's 5 of these and, well, only 1. So unfortunately, we're going to have to stick something in a different drawer, or maybe just put these 2 in 1 and these 3. Something like that. But so that's the system that we have set up. And, well, I think it's about that wrapping up point. So next episode, I need to start looking at these next few singularities, or maybe some food. We really might use next episode to tackle the singularities though, because the food should process relatively quickly, whereas some of these singularities, such as the balloon singularity, could definitely take a little bit more time. So anyways, next episode, we will start to tackle these singularities and all these food items. But regardless, anyways, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, then go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me what you liked. If you didn't like it, same thing. Leave a comment. Feedback is feedback. But either way, I really appreciate everybody taking the time to watch. And if you like the content, subscribe, like, whatever else all the other YouTubers say, and have a good day. See ya.